Previously on Video Game Hangover.
It's real! Don't you understand? It's real! Oh, God!
Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover, the podcast for everyone taking time away from golfing, jet skiing, and running over hookers to listen to our show this week. We know you have things you'd rather be doing, so we appreciate your time.
You can have it on.
I have an
background.
idea. Light bulb moment here.
What?
You can listen to our show whilst playing GTA 5.
While golfing and running over hookers, yeah.
Yes, right.
Crazy. Yeah, that's a good idea. I endorse that. Each week on VGH, we'll discuss the games that have been keeping us up late and break down a gaming-related topic. On this week's show, we're talking about the series of interesting choices that go into games and how the word game may not even apply anymore. In the Hangover this week, we've got more Spelunky, more Final Fantasy XIV, thoughts on the aforementioned Grand Theft Auto V, Killzone Mercenary, Diablo III on a console, believe it or not.
Whoa.
Weird.
Insanity! We'll also announce the winners of our Summer Backlog Attack contest. That's right, I said winners.
Uh-oh.
Plural. Zzz.
What the
I'm
what?
What the what? I'm Randy Dickinson, and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I'm a winner.
Oh, we all know, yeah.
For that reason specifically.
For being in Harrisburg.
Yep, precisely.
Everybody's a winner. Come on down,
winners.
Harrisburg.
Yep, you can't buy beer at a gas station, but we're all winners.
I am DJ Ross, and I'm in Mountain View, where you can buy a beer in a gas station.
You crazy liberals out in California.
Whoa,
I'm pretty
hold
sure you
on.
can.
There's a plot twist coming up, guys. This is Paul Sandu in Dallas, Texas, noted Republican hotbed, and I can buy beer at a gas station. Us
Screw this
crazy
state.
conservatives.
Not looking like so much of a winner now.
Now who's losing?
Damn, I take it back.
I don't know. You can still be a winner.
Yeah.
Everyone's a
No.
winner. We already covered this.
Yep.
How y'all doing, guys?
I can't get beer, but crystal meth everywhere.
I'm doing pretty good drinking my beer from a gas station.
Drinking your little gas station beer. Yeah.
Gas station sandwich in one hand and gas station beer in the other hand.
Oh, man. Living the high life. in
Right,
Dallas,
seriously.
Texas.
Living the dream.
Oh, dear. You guys want to do some viewer mail?
I think we should.
Yes, I think so.
We were talking about Spelunky last week. Man, I've been playing a lot of Spelunky. Have you kept up with it, Randy? You still
I have
into that?
not.
No.
I think I'm done with Spelunky.
You're done with it? Oh.
I think I am.
Say you finished it.
He finished it, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Got
Yes.
to the end.
He beat the end boss.
It gets weird. Like,
So I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but I've had varying versions of the conversation we had last week with a bunch of other people.
oh, yeah.
Where I basically say, I don't like it because it does this thing, and I don't want to do that thing, I want to do this. And they go, that's not what the game is, you have to do it this way. So everybody has a theory on why I'm not enjoying Spelunky, but that doesn't help me enjoy Spelunky anymore.
Well, brace yourself, because we're going to have more of that in a couple seconds. Anyway,
Excellent.
First of all, we got Simon198 on Twitter who says, I was here talking about Spelunky, my favorite worst game ever. I hate it, I love it, I hate it, I love it. Stupid game. He says he loves playing on the Vita, but it does bring out some very colorful language. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, after enough of it, I've managed to take it in stride. But then speaking of how you should be playing Spelunky, we got this wonderful comment from Jeb Adams on VGHangover.com, who says, Randy's thoughts on Spelunky had me thinking. He expresses a frustration with what for many is a main selling point of the game, which is procedurally generated levels, in that Spelunky lacks what we expect from video games, and especially platformers, patterns. The platforms should always be in the same places, enemies should always come out of the door at this time or when I do this. What Spelunky does pack in spades are rules, which are those tiki traps will always fire a dart, rocks will always kill a spider, bombs will always blow up in this shape, etc. And there are rules that aren't nearly as obvious, such as buried in the bottom of snake pits, there's always a mattock. I did not know that, actually. So I read this, And sure enough, the next time I fell into a snake pit, I found that mattock down the bottom.
What's a mattock?
Isn't that one of the pickaxe things? Am I saying that
Oh,
correctly?
really? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, nice tip. Thanks a lot. Anyway, he continues, you don't learn how to play a level like you would in Super Meat Boy or Super Mario Galaxy. Instead, you learn how to play no matter the level. The game reminds me of Animal Crossing New Leaf in that the world behaves the way you expect. I can use a shovel to dig up a stump in Animal Crossing? Yes, it turns out I can. If I sacrifice damsels to that scary statue, do I reap forbidden rewards in Spelunky? You bet your ass.
Just like Animal
Just a
Crossing.
scary, super hard, and hostile Animal Crossing. Enjoy.
I totally see the parallels, man.
Right.
Sacrificing all those animals at my googly altar.
I haven't unlocked the Altar Town project yet.
There was a theory kicking around when Animal Crossing first came out that the whole sort of uber-friendly, way too nice residents of your town were just sort of a human sacrifice plot waiting to happen.
Oh, man.
So I think Jeb Adams has kind of tied it all together nicely for us. But yeah, that kind of blows my mind. And it's weird that I like that about Animal Crossing. I like that I sort of understand and am always learning how the systems in Animal Crossing work. But it's kind of a different everyday experience. But in Spelunky, that doesn't work for me because I want to be able to rely on, like you said, those patterns to be able to make progress. And I don't feel like I am. That I've put hours and hours and hours, literally, probably 10 to 15 hours at this point into Spelunky, and I'm still on level 1-1. And that makes me angry.
Well, I suppose that's one way to look at it. But, I mean, you play other platformers, though. You played, like, I guess recently, like, Guacamelee.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they made that game, but instead of playing through the same levels every time, it was just, like, random stuff, and all you had was, your dude and his special moves?
Silence.
I mean, like, well,
yeah, I don't...
let me put it this way. Have you gone back and played Guacamelee again?
I have not, no.
Ah, okay.
They just released DLC for it, too, but...
Is there a appeal there, or are you kind of thinking like, oh, I got to the end, I'm done?
I saw that game. I played it. I know what it does. I know how it ends. I've finished it. I've crossed it off. It was a good time. There was a great sense of discovery. It was funny. It was funnier than I remember many other games being. I enjoyed my time with it, but it's a finite experience for me. It's done. Mm-hmm. And conversely, Animal Crossing is an infinite experience. Or it could be if you have the attention span to go with it. So I don't know. I guess I don't have rules about sort of how these kinds of games work for me. But there's something about Animal Crossing that does.
Maybe you're just Spelunky is the infinite experience that you're not necessarily looking.
Right. This is not the infinite experience you're looking for.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
Some of the points he makes, though, about learning the rules as opposed to the levels reminds me of stuff I play, like, like the Monster Hunter style stuff where it's like, on some level you're doing the same thing over and over again, but there's enough variation there where it's like kind of unique every time you go out. And so there is kind of like a point in the game where you can say, I've done everything, I've completed everything, and I've beaten the game. But I think, the way that game is designed and the way games like it are designed, there's always that extra appeal of just returning to it because you spent so long mastering the rules and you're like really just familiar with it.
Right.
It doesn't truly end.
Well, the other side of this is that one of the many conversations I've had in the last week or so about Spelunky is somebody told me to stop exploring, stop looking around, just try to get to the exit as quickly as possible. Because when you start to explore, when you deviate from sort of the central path in a Spelunky level, that's what opens you up for damage and death and sets you on that pattern of constantly repeating yourself. And again, perhaps this is a matter of expectations, and that I expect a game like Spelunky to sort of have hidden nooks and crannies, and that I should be able to explore those and to find out what's hidden there. And I guess the person who gave me this advice, whose name I can't remember right now, is not playing the game that way, and in fact has advised me to not play the game that way. So that's weird too. That flies in the face of my expectations for a game like this. I want to treat it like a platformer, but it's really not in the traditional sense.
Well, I mean, the traditional expectation, I suppose.
Right. Based on every other platformer I've ever played, ever.
They got to break
cool that
convention
it's not.
sometime.
Right. And I respect them for not being that. It's just hard for me to learn.
So you think you're pretty much done with it?
I feel like I might be, yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with simply saying it's just not your cup of tea.
Yeah. I am. I think I am in a kind of a fussy, bitchy kind of way, saying that it's
It's a very
totally...
flamboyant way of saying, just not that into it.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Thanks,
glad you get to
Jeb,
try
though.
it
I
out,
mean,
because
that's an
that's
awesome parallel, and we appreciate the insight there. That's very cool, but I think maybe it's not for me.
It actually sounds very interesting to me, just saying that, so.
I think you'd dig it, probably. You can check it out on Steam. They're doing it like daily challenge map, which sounds I was really interested in, but I think
Oh, it's
Vita
out.
is
Okay, I thought it was
the way to
Vita
go.
only.
Oh no, it's like on everything at this point.
It's on, kind of everything at this point.
Yeah.
It's not on 3DS, is it?
No, everything but 3DS.
Oh, well.
But
fine.
if you have a 3DS, you can play Steam World Dig instead.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
And you should.
Okay.
$8, SteamWorld Dig. People play that game.
Everybody else, continue to send your reasons why Randy should be enjoying Spelunky to randy@vghangover.com.
Yes.
We'll read them on the show.
Yeah, all
or
of
Randy
them.
will have a nervous breakdown, one or the other.
Stop emailing me.
Okay, moving right along. So, 10 weeks later, Backlog Attack is over.
The backlogs have been attacked.
Have they?
Were they? Well, were they attacked?
Some more than others.
Yes. Some more than others, that's for
Let's
sure.
get to our progress in a minute, but we were running this contest for the last month or so about who could accomplish the greatest feat of backloggery and clear out their unplayed games. We selected a winner. 4 weeks of, a lot of effort went into this. You guys, it's been incredible.
I cannot believe how well our listeners did. Just super impressive.
Yeah. Oh man, so many comments too. It was really great to hear from everybody. So we spent a lot of time kind of waffling between a few finalists because, man, there was some crazy list you guys went through. Mm-hmm. But in the end, there can be only one grand prize winner, and that winner is Don't Judge My ADD.
Yay!
Woo! So
Applause,
congratulations.
applause.
Most notable, he plowed through Persona 4, spent 69 hours playing that, among other games.
Damn, yo.
Which is already pretty incredible. And I happen to know that exact time figure because the entire time he was doing this, he was updating, and you've heard us mention this before, this backlog microblog that we will link to yet one more time.
Dude,
just
that thing
because
is insane.
It is crazy. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, this is like, we were like watching this for the last month, and we couldn't believe just like the diligence that went into this. It has like the list of games played. It has the hourly breakdown of how much time has gone in each game. It's really pretty spectacular.
I really like his current thoughts. Like if he would complete a certain section of a game and then just give like a quick little thought on it. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely do that.
Very impressive.
Well, we should say that wasn't necessarily one of the expectations for kind
not
of being
at
the
all.
winner in our contest, but that was something that Don't Judge My ADD took upon himself to assemble, and we salute him for it.
Yes, and we were saluting him by giving him the fall game of his choice, which in this case is Batman Arkham Origins.
Nice. Good choice.
Coming out in October, I think. So
I believe so, yeah.
Let me know
Look for
how
that
it is,
in the
because I'm
mail.
watching that one closely.
resident Batman fan.
I'm just watching it with a lot of trepidation, but I hope it's good. So yeah, please email me and let me know if it's any good. Do a journal.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, well, no, keep checking back on that page, apparently.
Yeah, definitely write
And
down.
we'll keep mining it for things to talk about on the show.
But Randy did allude to something earlier in the show in that we are having more than one winner. So, surprise, guys. You know how he was saying we're all winners? It's true. You're all winners. We have a couple of honorable mentions to quickly go through, and then a few extra, mentions to go through, I suppose, after that. But Trace Dixon and Freaky Zeke are our two honorable mentions. I guess you could say they placed second and third, even though, there is no real second and third there. But some of the highlights of Trace Dixon's Backlog Attack, Borderlands 2, that's a pretty long game. I I think I clocked in around 40 hours when I first beat that, so that's pretty impressive. And Fire Emblem on the 3DS, one of my front runners for Game of the Year this year, believe it or not. That's an excellent game, and I'd like to know his thoughts on it.
And a big game, too. There's a lot of game there.
It's at least another 30, 40 hours there as well. And I know Freaky Zeke finally went back, and he completed the Wind Waker. I guess.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a good choice, and that's one of my great gamer shames. I've never actually completed it. Eternal Darkness, that's another game that, I think all three of us have not completed. I'm not sure, but...
Nope.
Oh, no, I finished Eternal
Did
Darkness.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, so two of us have not, but that's a pretty good choice.
And Wind Waker. I've been through both of those.
Okay, but have you platinumed all three Ratchet and Clank games, or whatever the collection?
The original, yeah, the first three there that came out for the PS2. No, I have not, unfortunately. I have that collection. I have it sitting on top of...
Yeah, well, he platinumed them. He didn't just complete the games, he platinumed all three in the collection, so... Yeah, you keep on doing that, Freaky.
Yeah. Nobody likes to show off, Freaky Zeke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are awesome. But we should also mention that there were a number of other folks who played along with us who kept checking in weekly on our blog and tweeting us whenever they would finish a game with credit screens and stuff like that. So we want to give kudos to, brace yourself, list incoming, Jeb Adams, Ryan, Pastry Manny, Tony Irons. Hey, we know that guy. He hosted the show with us once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. And Pete, Creed 8 Centula. I saw 9 Inch Nails with that guy once. Eric, Cube 00 Cubic, Mitch, Stranded Brit Toribio, and Dark Lurker 23. We want to give all of you guys a $10 Amazon gift card for your efforts.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's incredible.
Insanity, I know. Again, that wasn't our prize that we announced. This is just something we kind of threw together over the last couple of days out of respect for you and the intensity that you put into this project.
That's
and for
how
showing us
impressed
up.
we were. We decided
Absolutely.
to just, break the bank. No, seriously. It was so inspiring to see these people just knock out game after game, and it made my piddly attempt at my backlog all that much more unimpressive.
Right. Well, we will get to your piddly
Yeah, I
attempt,
know.
Paul. But, so congrats to those guys. Everybody whose name we just said, we will be in touch with you by Twitter, by email, some way to set this up and to make sure that you get your gift card in time to buy some cool holiday games, or at least take the sting out of some of the cool holiday games coming our way. Ooh. So thank you. We owe you guys so much respect and gratitude for playing along with us. We mean it.
Yeah, well done.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah. And thanks to DJ for updating our blog and pulling together a recap every single week.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But enough inspiration. How did we do?
You get $10 and you get $10.
Enough inspiration. Womp
Right.
womp.
Well, I'll go first. I did okay. I think I did all right. I certainly did better than I did last summer.
Yeah, you rebounded big time from last year.
I think, I get a little bit of a pass because there were a couple of games that I picked that were just unfinishable. So, I may not have put as much time into it as, Trace Dixon did, but I played enough of Walking Dead to the first-person shooter.
You played enough of Walking Dead.
Enough of it, yes. I played a lot of Mind Jack, but got to a point where I was frustrated and didn't care anymore. I finished Resident Evil Revelations on the 3DS. Yes, I finished one. It was really good.
That's
you
good.
get used to the controls.
Turn that around. I remember at the beginning you're lumping it in there with Never Dead and all these other shining examples.
The controls break it. I think if you have the opportunity to play it on PS3 or if you have one of the 3DS joystick, thumbstick, boat things, you should play it with that. Me sort of fighting with the controls and trying to figure that out through 10 hours of gameplay was really maddening. But I think it's a really good Resident Evil game at its core. I think it's genuinely scary. There's a lot of fun stuff that happens. So play it. It's good. And I'm almost done with Army of Two. And in fact, I think I'm about 90 minutes away from finish. I've been playing that with my buddy Chris, co-opting the entire thing, and I'm having a good time with it. That is totally worth playing as well if you're looking for a mindless diversion.
So we'll consider that completed. You're close enough.
Absolutely. Which leaves Never Dead and XCOM, two very different games, that will go on to another pile of shame somewhere down the road. We're going to kick those into possibly 2014.
See you next summer. I do want to hear about Never Dead, though. That was probably the one on the list I was most curious about.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I should have got to it first then, apparently.
Well,
DJ, how'd you do?
I did okay. I got 4 out of 6. Man, okay, so this is the worst story. I tried to play Metro 2033 last week. I actually started it up, and it was really cool. But I'm playing it on PC, and my mouse broke.
Oh.
It is like doing this weird stuff where it's like clicking when it's not supposed to. And you start out that game with a revolver and like a double-barreled shotgun that you have to reload every 2 shells. So, like, just imagine trying to play that with a mouse that, once in a while it just fires half your bullets.
Sounds awesome.
So, God, I've been trying to get a replacement for the last week, but that's like the worst. It sounds like such a cop-out that I can't play this game because I thought it was pretty cool. It's like all in Russian, kind of interesting. Looking
Those
forward
Metro
to...
games are adored. I think that first one, and there's the sequel was the Last Light.
Yeah,
well?
that just came out this year.
Right, and I've heard really, really good things about those, but I've not attempted them all.
It was cool. I want to get back to it. One of the so if I can just go on a tangent for a second, this all the dialogue. You have the option of having all the dialogue in Russian, which is also very cool. Except like the subtitles, they only subtitled like the primary character dialogue. So you'll be walking through an area and there'll be characters just hanging out and they'll like come up and try and tell you things, but it's all in Russian and it's not subtitled. So that is also kind of weird and disappointing.
It's immersive.
I'd love to do the entire thing in Russian if possible, but I'm missing out on what everybody's saying.
Right. You played Assassin's Creed in Italian, didn't you?
Yeah, and that was like one of my favorite experiences this generation. Because, they're in Italy, so, everybody should be speaking Italian, and it was great. What a great game. So I was hoping that would be kind of a repeat, except in Russia. And
I should probably go through the Witcher series in Polish, just to see what that would be
Polish
like. Yeah.
Audio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's got like 5 different audio languages. I think Witcher 2 has got like a bunch of different languages, like Spanish, French, Polish, Czech, I think, might be one of the...
Did The Witcher 1 have that?
I think it had Polish and English. I'm not sure.
Huh.
You can get like... you can download the audio packs, and I haven't looked at them, but I'm pretty sure there's like 30 billion different languages you can get it in. It's really interesting.
Wait, are you sure there are 30 billion language packs?
It's a very universally approved game.
Yeah.
Dude, I would still play that game in Klingon. That would be fucking amazing.
How come they haven't done that? There's got to be like a, just waiting to make a Star Trek game that's fully Klingon.
Pig Latin.
The Pig Latin game.
Ixnay on the Itcher way.
I'll have to look into that for one day when I finally revisit Witcher 1. So anyway, all I've got left on the list, I still got to get through Metro and Dishonored, which
you got to play that
a lot. So maybe this fall, maybe once I get a new mouse. Which brings us to...
Do we have to?
I guess we don't have to.
Can I pass?
Sure.
Pass.
Hey, we're not here to make you feel bad, Paul.
Because I think I kind of did pass, didn't I? Yeah, so I think I have my 2014 Backlog Attack list already and roaring to go.
Assembled. Excellent.
So I finished one of my 6 titles, Spec Ops: The Line, which was fantastic. I loved it, had a great time, went through it in 2 days, and then I just kind of fell apart after that, didn't I?
You bought like 3 enormous JRPGs.
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake, wasn't it?
Well, not necessarily a mistake.
I wouldn't say
it
it
was
was a
just
mistake, but...
Yeah.
Oh, it was a mistake.
Just
in
questionable.
relation to the backlog.
Yeah.
So here's my list for next year. We got Splinter Cell Conviction, which is my carryover from last year.
I don't know how many times, DJ, and I can tell you to play that goddamn game.
I know.
Oh my god.
So ashamed. Max Payne 3. That's going to be on there next year.
Wasn't that also last year?
No. I mean, I bought it last year, but it wasn't on my backlog.
Okay.
I don't think, anyway. It'll certainly be there next year. We got Tomb Raider, the new one. I definitely need to finish that. Hotline Miami. I've gotten like halfway through that, so I'm not going to count it as completed. And then Hitman Absolution, which I've run the, I guess it's the benchmarking software, and that's about all I've done.
Also a good game, Paul. These are good games.
Striving for that partial credit on all of these.
Yeah, I'm just grasping at straws, man. I'm like a college student.
Okay, we'll give you like a 1.5.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, well, congratulations, guys. We did get through some games, and that
Some
was
games,
well
yeah,
done.
absolutely.
you guys. Oh man, I will rebound next year. Mark my words.
All right.
Well, let's bring it sort of into current events here. We've been playing a few other games. Let's get into the Hangover, where we talk about the stuff we've been playing lately. I finished Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh, okay.
The campaign in Splinter Cell.
What did you think?
I think it's really good. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not as good as Conviction. I stand by that. I don't like the new guy who plays Sam Fisher. I stand by that.
Right.
I think the final mission in this game, the final campaign mission, no spoilers here, is awesome. Is so good all the way through.
Until...
Oh, yeah.
The worst. It was so bad.
I don't know if I thought it was bad. I just thought it was
I have no idea what you're
underwhelming.
talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you said you know what we're talking about, Paul?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Paul just got caught up in your excitement.
Oh my god, I couldn't believe it. Like, you're right, the last mission is pretty cool. And then it does, like, can I say it? There's like a boss fight at the end. And it's like, it's so terrible.
Yes, yeah. And it was, in addition to being terrible, it was frustrating.
Yeah, no, it was like, everything about it is just like, why?
That I can relate
Why
to.
is this in this game?
Kind of a weird choice.
Yeah, and it's like, there's a quick time event. There's several quick time events involved.
Mm-hmm.
There are unskippable cutscenes.
Yep.
Oh,
And
it's
it
just
doesn't
like
rely on
everything.
anything that you've learned up to that point. All of the skills and all the weapons and toys and all the cool shit that you've had at your disposal up till there. It doesn't require those to be able to engage this final situation.
So would you say it's a Deus Ex all over again?
No, because
worse.
that was the criminal element of that was that it was like 6 boss fights in that game.
Yeah.
Or at least more than one. This at least just sort of capped it onto the end. I think they were looking for a way to sort of wrap it up by sort of pinpointing who the villain was. And yeah, it was just, that was, I agree, a little underwhelming. But everything
it was like very climactic in the story, and it was like, oh, okay. It all comes down to this, but the way they executed it was terrible.
was hammy.
And it got me to think back on the rest of the game, and like looking back on it, like it was like the whole game was very just serviceable and kind of like, this is the Splinter Cell game, so you should be hiding behind cover and taking out guys silently. And yeah, it all felt very run of the mill. So I don't know, I guess I enjoyed it, but in the face of stuff like Splinter Cell Conviction, which was superior on pretty much every level,
I agree.
I was just like, well, maybe I just should go back and play Splinter Cell Conviction again.
I find the core mechanics of it very satisfying. I like and I think I've said this, lying in a ditch, crawling through air ducts, popping out, snapping a dude's neck. All of that stuff I find very exciting. And there's a lot of it in Splinter Cell Blacklist. It's very lean in that way. I think it's weird that you get these massive options for loadout. You can unlock new weapons and talk to this guy, and he'll give you more guns and secure things on the black market for you. And the game that I ended it with, the gun I ended it with, was the one I started it with.
Yeah, I maybe bought one
Silence pistol.
Yep, there you go. And you could do some attachment to it that gave you a little greater distance. And then at some point, I think I bought armor-piercing bullets so you could shoot through helmets. And I was like, that's all I need. And there was this massive long list.
Can you get that in your pistol?
Yep.
Oh,
That's exactly what I did in Deus Ex. I got my initial pistol, I buffed the hell out of it, and I used it throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else in a stealth game that's done well.
There was this giant list of shotguns. All of these loud weapons that you can play. I'm like, who's playing Splinter Cell with a shotgun?
Yeah.
I will go back and try some of the secondary campaigns. There is one of the characters gives you a series of basically horde mode objectives where you have to survive a series of waves, and you can use stealth and traps and stuff like that. And for that, I could see kind of an automatic sort of double pump shotgun coming in real handy to just sort of blow dudes away when you get cornered. But it's just so counterintuitive in the Splinter Cell game. It seems like a weird choice.
I want to know what that's like going through in like full assault mode, because that's like they kind of encourage you, like, this is one way you can play this, but just like, is it like it turns into a third person cover based shooter where you're just like popping out and shooting people in the head with your assault rifle?
Right. Well, there's that one campaign mission where you have to play that way, where they throw so much at you so quickly and kind of a ticking time limit, and you really kind of have to play it. non-stealth. You do seek cover and hop over and sort of change your flanking position periodically. But
wait, are you talking about on the airfield?
Yes.
Oh man, no, I ghosted that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow. See, that didn't even seem like an option to me. There was so much coming at me. That's interesting.
I actually started out thinking like I was going to shoot my way out, but then I was just like, wait a minute. And then I kind of snuck around the edge.
Just hanging from a pipe.
He just ran away.
Waiting for him to get bored. Yeah.
Like, oh, guess he's gone.
Go away. Right. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, I guess not then. So, yeah, I had fun with it. It was a good time. I think I just probably spent 3 weeks of good, solid weekend gaming sessions with it.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go back and clean up some of the secondary stuff. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Spies versus Mercs, too.
Oh, yeah, we still have to play online. Absolutely, yes.
I think we're a couple people who expressed interest, but I don't know. Once we decide to really get into it, we'll put some more feelers out.
And it's really good about the scoreboard thing where you finish a level and it goes, oh, you bested Medley's ghost ranking on this level. I'm like, yeah, you're goddamn right, I did.
I'm going to go back and check those.
Yeah, some of those are good. You should definitely dig into that. So Splinter Cell, thumbs up from me. If you can get it, $40, I would totally recommend playing the shit out of that game for anybody.
Yeah. I would probably recommend any other Splinter Cell that I played over it, but...
Okay.
I don't know. It just felt like kind of like what's unique about this one, and I kept failing to come up with an answer to that.
It's got a boss fight.
Yeah.
That is unique.
Very unique.
And I started Killzone Mercenary, which is the first-person shooter for the Vita that doesn't stink.
So I want to hear about this because I heard some people saying, yeah, pretty much that exact thing. Like it's really good, surprisingly.
It's very pretty. It's hyper polished. It's buttery smooth. Great animations. Very detailed architecture and level design. It's a fully functional, very well assembled first person shooter that you play on a handheld. Yeah, I think that's my sort of initial review of Mercenary.
Very well assembled.
Yeah, I mean, the story's more or less forgettable. It's interesting that you're a mercenary and you can take jobs for two different sides of warring factions. So you really sort of have to not pick sides in this war and blah, blah, blah. It gets a little hammy from there, but...
do people really play Killzone for the story? I mean,
some people,
probably, yeah. But I like it. I played the Resistance FPS that came out for the Vita, just probably about a year and a half ago, and that was not good. That was really...
Is that the firefighter one?
Yes, yeah. Kind of crappy. Shoehorned in a lot of sort of touch controls and, stupid enemies, ugly graphics.
Not well assembled?
No, not at all, no. And the Call of Duty Ops... something or other that came out for
Black Ops, whatever
it was, yeah, declassified.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't play that. I think the Metacritic average on that was a 4, so I didn't bother. But yeah, Killzone. If you are dying to play a first-person shooter on your Vita, Killzone Mercenary, I think is the way to go.
So I was going to ask, what need is this fulfilling? Are you, in what situations do you play this? Are you like sitting at home and you're like, I want to play a first-person shooter. So the Vita, obviously.
Yeah, sitting at home on the couch.
Yeah.
TV going with some other TV show on, and yeah, I've got one earbud in, and I'm playing Killzone and listening to my girlfriend talk to me from the other end of the couch.
So do you take this outside or on the go with you?
I haven't. No, I mean I could see myself being really happy to have it with me on the road when I'm staying in hotel rooms, which I do quite frequently, to have something that is kind of a diversion like this. Particularly since it has an online component where you can do up to 4v4 multiplayer mayhem. It brings over the Warzone mode, which I really liked from Killzone 2, which is a longish game session that has cycling objectives, where it's, for the next 3 minutes, it's every man for himself. For the next 3 minutes, it's interrogation, where you have to shoot somebody to the point where they fall down but don't die, and then you sort of beat them up a little bit and they give up information, like the location of all of the people on their team and stuff like that, which becomes visible to you on the minimap for a short period of time. There's a hacking mini game, which gets a little obnoxious because it's really hard and you're super vulnerable when you're doing it. But the perks that unlocks are awesome because you can do sort of death from above, drone strikes and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. Like I said, it feels very full-featured. Like every sort of element that you would want in a first-person shooter that you play on a console seems like it's made its way over in some way or another to the Vita.
So are there points where you're playing this and it's just like, oh, like this isn't done very well, but because it's on this handheld, that's okay.
I haven't felt like that yet, but I don't play a ton of first-person shooters.
No? No.
Not lately, anyways. I'm. What was the last thing? BioShock Infinite, but that's kind of in its own weird class. Maybe Killzone 3 was probably the last console FPS that I put any significant amount of time into.
You play like Far Cry 3?
I didn't play that.
Oh, man, you're missing out on that.
Yeah, I know you were a big fan of that.
That game's incredible, dude.
You have to kill a lot of animals in that, and that makes me weird.
Yeah. Maybe there's some patches or cheat codes you can use there, some sort of like way to get around that in the PC version.
I do want to play the Blood Dragon, though. I've heard that's a lot of fun.
It is.
So the reason I asked that is I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, of course, which is an MMO. And I keep thinking, like, I have all these other RPGs in my backlog, of course. And when you get into an MMO, you think, like, okay, there are naturally going to be some gameplay concessions and, like, story concessions, because, like, that's not necessarily the focus of it. But I could be playing all these other games, which are, like, almost assuredly doing stuff that is more interesting than this game. I was just wondering, like, okay, so where do you draw the line in making these concessions? Like, is that, am I willing to suffer through this subpar, or maybe not subpar, but not like cutting edge gameplay because I'm into these other features? And I don't know. In Final Fantasy XIV's case, I wonder if that's, I guess there's other stuff going on, but it is kind of weird because it's like, yeah, the gameplay is kind of, it's all right.
It's very samey. Based on what you've told me, it sounds very samey.
I mean, it's like playing an MMO. Yeah, I mean, you know what to expect. It has some interesting tricks, but thinking about Killzone and people keep recommending it, I was like, well, I feel like I could probably squeeze another 100 hours out of Battlefield 3 and whatever else I haven't played.
So do you need to have this experience? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, that mode you described sounds kind of cool.
It is cool. You can't do that solo, though. You are bound to play that online, which sort of opens you up to the world at large and, random assholes sometimes. So there is that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm giving Killzone a pass just because it's the first FPS that works on the Vita. I think it's a very good game.
But it sounds like it doesn't really need one necessarily. It sounds like it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this wasn't even something that I was interesting to see how it turned out. The Killzone games have been fun. 1 was not great, but 2 and 3 were pretty good. And I had fun playing those on consoles. But this wasn't a game that I was dying to buy on the Vita. This was not something that I knew I had to spend $40 for on the day it came out. And then I started reading some of the reviews, and they were super enthusiastic. And I'm like, wow, maybe I will be missing out on some experience if I don't play this game. And I'm kind of glad I'm doing it now. It also helped that I got into the beta for the multiplayer, and I was able to get online and play with some of the tools and some of the weapons before having to put down $40 for it. I think it would be very well served to have a demo available for this so people can get their hands on it and go, oh yeah, it kind of works all right. That's great.
I hope so, because I totally downloaded the beta and then forgot about it. And
you want that space back on your memory card now, trust me.
Oh yeah, no, it's long gone.
Okay. But yeah, I want to play more of the multiplayer because I think that obviously will speak to the longevity of this and how well they continue to create new objectives and new content for that, and how well the community continues to respond to it and play it, I guess. Certainly the campaign is not going to keep me interested beyond its limited scope. So we'll have to see if this is something that I take on the road with me and put a couple of rounds in every time I'm sitting alone in a hotel room in bumfuck Pennsylvania.
I kind of like the idea of just like, Vita's cool because you can just fire up a game for a couple minutes, but I wouldn't really think about doing that with a first-person shooter, so I'm curious to see how it works out.
Yeah. Updates to come. Paul, what have you been playing?
So, this is a funny little story that happened last week. We got little bit of background here real quick. DJ, you sent Randy and I an email saying that the Diablo 3 demo had hit PlayStation Network and you wanted us all to try it together. And I was like, why in the hell would he want us to play the Diablo 3 demo?
This is the worst story ever.
Well, it's like we've played it last year. I'm like, what the hell? Why would he want us? I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I'll get the demo and hopefully we can.
On console, it's all supposed to be all weird.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be all weird. And,
I've never played Diablo before, so this would be my first Diablo experience.
So there was a very interesting turn of events. You guys, we never did play the demo, which is unfortunate. True. And my wife ended up getting me a copy of the game as an early birthday present. I'm like, what the hell is this? You got me Diablo 3. I've already played this. And I played the shit out of it on the PC. However,
the game... you immediately said that.
I was thinking it. And now she knows I was thinking it. But here's the beautiful ending to the story, though. We sat down, okay, because Diablo is much more fun when you're playing it with someone else. I know, the funnest times I had playing it was definitely when I was playing co-op with DJ last year, for sure. And the console version does have couch co-op on it. I think up to 4 people can play on the same console, which is really, really cool. So the wife and I dove into Diablo 3 and we played it for like 10 hours over the weekend. And I have to say, Diablo 3 is actually a pretty fun game. I guess I just forgot.
It's pretty good, right?
It's really fun. And some of the changes to the console are great. Character movement is way more natural now. Instead of having to click where you want to go, you can
I'm really curious about that, actually. Like, you actually steer around.
Yeah, it works really well. And there's a new maneuver where you can dodge attacks, too, with the right stick, which is really cool. All characters have it, so
How
that
does
makes
that work?
it.
Do you just like sidestep?
Yep,
slightly.
You can sidestep. If projectiles are coming at you, you can sidestep them, and it's really cool.
Is it like you sidestep and then return back to where you were?
No.
Because I remember, Because like my Demon Hunter on the PC, one of the special moves was like this huge dodge.
Right.
That sounds a little redundant now if they've got this other thing.
Well, I'm sure that one came with some sort of benefits to it, or maybe it has like a lot more versatility. In this, you just roll maybe a couple of feet away. It's more of I think it's more for melee classes, because we were kind of, boned when it came to getting killed, and I do prefer playing as a melee class, so it was nice to have that kind of mobility built in to all classes, which is fantastic, and the movement is so much more natural, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool. And it's funny, because a lot of people complained about the a lack of character builds in Diablo 3, because you can only select a maximum of 4 to 6 abilities at any given time. And that works so well on the console, because now you can fit a computer game that normally would require a keyboard into controller. Like you can heal, it's mapped to the D-pad, like quick heal, quick teleport is mapped to your D-pad. All your abilities that you can use at any given time on the PC version are available to you on your controller, because there's only like 6 maximum that you ever need access to, so you have enough face buttons for it, and it's a hell of a lot of fun just sitting there and playing with somebody in the same room. I had forgotten how much fun it is. I'm looking forward to going through the entire game again. It's a good time.
Cool. Is it weird having to... do you have to stay on the same screen at all times?
Yes, and if you get too far apart, like the person... One of you will end up kind of rubber banding towards the other person, which is kind of... it's off-putting at times, but you get used to it. Like if I'm in the thick of things, like Courtney's playing a mage, so she's always hanging back. If I'm in the thick of things with enemies and we get split up, and this can be kind of problematic, she'll sometimes teleport to me, and then she's... Yeah, that can be a bit of a mess. But, if you maintain your distance and your coordination, it'll work just fine. So yeah,
cool.
And they also, it's the updated loot system, which I have no experience with. Apparently Blizzard has completely changed the way loot works, so that's good. No auction house.
I don't know if I've gone back since they added that in.
Yeah.
And they just announced that they're actually getting rid of the auction house on the PC. Which
I
is
heard about that. Yeah, that's a big change for sure. But it's not all sunshine and roses, unfortunately. The menus in the console version are terrible.
Ooh.
And this is something I never realized, but you do spend a lot of time navigating menus in Diablo.
Oh, really?
And having
one of my favorite video game things.
Yeah, no, but get this, Randy. It gets even better.
If it's the extent that you're envisioning, but
see, here's the problem.
Compare a lot of equipment.
Right, yeah, you have to compare a lot of equipment, and you sometimes have to spend a little bit of time, gearing out your character. Now, if you have to do that with 2 or more people in the same room, it's like, oh, hang on a second, let me check this out.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
It can really grind down the pace of the game. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, we kind of have a new rule that we've established. First, no re-gearing until we've hit a stopping point. And 2, you have to announce when you're going to open up a menu, because anybody can pause and anybody can open up a menu, and it's a pain in the ass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We've got Sandu house rules for Diablo 3.
You have to do it, man. You got to keep the peace. It's
That's
funny.
funny. So is this entry level? Do you feel like this is something like me, who has no experience in this kind of game, specifically or in playing Diablo games, that I would get into that would have an appeal to me?
I think Diablo 3 is very newbie friendly. Like super newbie friendly. Just the fact that you only have a limited selection of abilities and that you can switch out your abilities on the fly, that makes it super newbie friendly in my opinion.
And it has kind of a cool like risk reward kind of system built into it, where you kind of do adventurous things and you get the loot for it.
Well, the more you explore and the more dungeon runs you do, the better the loot you're going to get. The more time you put into it, the more, you're going to get more loot.
Right.
And they've added
it's more of a function of just like time that you play.
Oh, really? Okay.
And how far you get.
It's a chill game. It's not a game that requires a whole lot of skill. Okay, it's the kind of game where you can have a couple of beers or a couple of drinks and just chill out and play and just relax. Cool. It's not super intense.
Well, that was the thing that I thought was always surprisingly fun about Borderlands and Borderlands 2, is it was that sort of, what gun did that guy drop? What's in that box over there? What's in that vending machine? Is that weird sort of like, is there a better gun, staff, explosive, corrosive thing that I should be playing with right now? And Diablo kind of created that, right, essentially?
Borderlands, is Diablo. Except,
yeah, it really is.
It's a shooter.
Oh,
so
cool.
If you like that, try out the demo.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't hurt.
And the co-op
There's so many
is
abilities,
so
too, in this game. And some of them really dramatically change the way each character plays. So you're pretty much guaranteed to find something that you can get along with.
That's a good point. You will find a class and a build that works for you. Like, I have found that I love the monk. And I was debating if I should start a new character on the on the PS3 version. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'll just make another monk because I had so much fun. And I'm enjoying it just as much as the first time. It's so fun.
So any video game where you have the option to play as Tony Shalhoub, you should.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's been surprisingly fun. It's like I'm rediscovering a game that I forgot that I enjoyed.
Cool.
Well, I'm glad you're back in it. I just wish it had cross-platform play because I love to co-op with you guys.
Well, I think we're going to have to do a little rejiggering to the outline here because we're getting a little weird for time. But Paul, we would, I think, like to hear maybe your initial impressions on GTA 5.
Okay, this is kind of funny because, we've been really hyping it up and looking forward to GTA 5 for the better part of about 2 years, maybe 3 years now, ever since it was announced. And it finally hit today, and I spent about 2 hours with it now. Okay, and I gotta say, it's tough for me to say.
Oh, really?
I'm a little underwhelmed to start with. I'm sure it'll get better, okay, but I've only spent 2 hours. I have to preface that, and I have to be really careful here, but there are certain things that just kind of...
2 real hours, in the game, playing it, not like an hour and 20 minutes doing the install, right?
Yeah, 2
downloading the
hours.
patches.
Yeah. I spent an hour installing the game. It felt like an hour or something like that. Yeah, be warned, it is like an 8 gigabyte install. But, okay, I was shocked at how quickly I was turned off one of the protagonists. I won't give any details or anything like that, but it was just the worst introduction to a character. I'm like, man, I really miss Nico because he was really lovable right from the start.
I don't want a lovable GTA character, though. I'm kind of glad that they're all despicable, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know how despicable they become, but I can't relate to this character yet. Now, hopefully it'll get better. I don't know. But this is something that really is disappointing. After playing something like Sleeping Dogs, I'm really tired of the way Rockstar decides to build these beautiful worlds but make it a pain in the ass to explore on foot. You guys remember how, Nico, he's an oaf. He doesn't control very well. He's not very fluid in exploring the environments, and I don't think any of these characters will have any fluidity into their movements in exploring this beautiful game world that Rockstar created, and it sucks. It's really disappointing to have yet another character that lumbers around like a tank. Nah.
But it's so real.
Yeah, well, that's kind of disappointing. Don't build a beautiful world and make it a pain in the ass to explore. So I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure it's a great game, but not the best way to get me excited 2 hours in.
Once again, our theory that every open world game you should have a grappling hook and a parachute.
Yes.
Like in Just Cause 2. Well, that's interesting, Paul, and we're certainly going to talk about the game once the three of us have a chance to get our hands on some of the content there on a future episode.
The driving's improved. Much improved.
The driving,
that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
It would have to be, yeah.
I'm still a shitty driver, though, so yeah. Just admitting that on air.
All right, well, you're not a getaway driver then.
No.
Randy, you're a getaway driver. I remember that one time we went from New York to New Jersey entirely on the sidewalk. There's been so much backlash over this, like especially since the reviews started leaking out about just like, I don't know, the content, and they're saying it's kind of misogynistic. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I should be super excited for this, right? Because it's like the biggest game ever made. But on the other hand, I'm like playing Spelunky and Final Fantasy XIV. Who needs more than that? That's like plenty of stuff to do.
You can't backtrack now. You can't backpedal.
I know, no.
I mean,
I'm totally excited to play it, but I'm. Just
I demand you're as excited as I am about this.
But I was just thinking, like, I don't know. Saints Row 4 sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
No, I want to fly a helicopter. Once I get in a helicopter, I'm sure it'll be good.
You can rain
Helicopters
death
in
upon.
Saints Row are terrible.
The multiplayer looks awesome. I mean, you know.
October 1st.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about that.
No, I mean, I don't mean to be down on the game. I've only played it for 2 freaking hours here, so take this with a grain of salt. It's just that I was a bit surprised at a few things that were really off-putting right away. I wasn't expecting that, so I just thought I'd share.
All right. Well, we will dig deeper, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So do you guys want to maybe chuck what we were going to talk about this week and just keep talking about games?
Keep talking about games. What game?
Watch Dogs.
Okay, let's talk about Watch Dogs.
You want to talk about Watch Dogs. This is on you.
I did want to talk about Watch Dogs. So
thing we were going to talk about, we will come back to. We'll put a little bow on it, and we'll put it in the file with the things that we want to talk about on the show, and we'll get back to it someday.
Thing with the things.
Yep, the thing about games being a series of interesting choices that we'll come back to.
Okay.
We've made some interesting choices in the show tonight.
Right, exactly. Podcasts are a series of interesting choices.
Doing this in real time.
Right.
It's never the same. It's just like Splunky.
Yeah, so, Deidre, you wanted us to watch this preview that Randy talked about last week. Why?
Randy talked about last week that gave like a 10, 15-minute just uninterrupted gameplay feed, supposedly. It was kind of directed, but it was more or less just like wandering around the open world. Mm-hmm. In Watch Dogs, so you guys both watched it.
Yep.
Hopefully, maybe if you guys are listening to this, you have watched this as well. And he's just kind of messing around, doing stuff. What do you guys think? Are you like... Well, first of all, you guys were pretty excited for this to begin with. Yeah. I'm kind of skeptical.
Were you skeptical before you watched this, or have you become more skeptical since?
Like, the stuff they show with, the stuff they talked about anyway, with being able to hack into these different systems and spy on people and manipulate stuff, sounds really interesting, but I wonder, like, if that's maybe, like, too ambitious. And plus the fact that when you're not doing that, it just turns into just, like, the most generic-looking GTA game, or at least how they described it up to this point. So I watched this thing, and it was like, he's following people around in the city and doing some hacking stuff. And I don't know, I wasn't incredibly impressed by it. In fact, the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, man, he's just like, it's the stuff you're talking about, Paul. He's just kind of like walking around on foot in like at normal person speed and doing. But he did seem a lot more slowly.
I thought the Watchdog character, what's his name, Aiden, is the protagonist. Yes, He looks a lot more fluid than the GTA characters. The way he can like traverse.
Yeah, I can see that.
He has a lot more verticality to his movement than the GTA characters. Like seriously, I was tripping over like a 2-foot rail and falling over.
They still triple for stairs?
Like, really? Like, come on, this is still 5 years ago. But
I like that. The most difficult thing to do in GTA 4 was always just getting Nico into his apartment. It's like...
But the hacking stuff, in this video, I have to admit, it looked kind of boring. Like you were just simply...
I was watching it and I was like, this looks like work.
Like all you would do is navigate, like change the camera angle, then press square, and then press square again. Like there was no involvement the player character to do any of the hacking.
Well, the alternative is it's a mini game, and is that ever fun? Is that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe it's more like it clicks better once you actually get to experience it and realize all the possibilities. But I don't know. That kind of cooled me on it. Until at the end of the trailer when they showed this other guy who was hacking him as they were playing. It turned out to be another player, like a real person. And there was like this exchange where he was chasing him, but then like he lost him and he hacked back into the other guy's game. And he was just like hanging out. I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is really interesting suddenly.
Well, and he used an ability to sort of blend into the crowd in the other guy's game and was trying to triangulate his position using like security cameras and stuff like that, right? And trying to figure out where the other guy was who had just come out of his game and was griefing him and chasing him down. And there was I think there was a foot chase and there was a car chase and there was a shootout and it seemed like a good time.
Yeah, I want to know more about this. Because the way they described it, he was like, okay, we've hacked into their game, and they don't know we're here.
Right.
So it's just like,
from what I gathered is anytime you hop into somebody else's game, you automatically blend in with the crowd. Like, you don't have to do anything. That's the way it seemed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't put up a little chyron in the corner that sort of says, hey, Paul Sandu has joined your game.
Right. Yeah, you just kind of sneak into someone
else's
else's game and start messing with them, which I thought that's really interesting, to take trolling and make it a part of the gaming experience.
That is exactly what I thought. I was just I don't even want to play the game anymore. I just want to like log on, like, wonder what Paul's doing. Oh, looks like he's chasing this dude. Wonder what Randy's doing. Oh, Randy's looking at this car. Just like not even necessarily like try and hack you or anything. Just be like, oh, what's up?
How can I ruin their experience tonight?
Well, that could be cool in the way that all of the secondary stuff in the Saints Row games becomes this big distraction where, you find yourself after hours and hours of not really even focusing on the main campaign and you're just sort of going around causing chaos. Now with a game like Watch Dogs, you're not limited to just your game and the incidental things that sort of pop up in that experience. That I assume there's got to be a way that you can lock your game down if you really want to focus on playing it solo and having that experience. But if you've got a bunch of people on your friends list who have this game in, you really can just sort of hop from instance to instance, city to city, and really just kind of create incidental things for them to respond to, which I think is cool. I hope.
No, I think it has a hell of a lot of potential.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think we've had a fair amount of skepticism all along about Watch Dogs, and that we all think, oh, that looks really, really cool. And geez, that first reveal at E3 last year was insane because nobody knew it was coming. It was this extended preview with like snipers and multiple characters and a giant shootout in a nightclub. And it was like, what is going on? There's so much in this. And over time, I think the novelty of that has worn off a little bit and has prompted a fair amount of people gamers going, yeah, is that really going to work like that? Is that really what it's going to be like? Because what it wants to do seems kind of lofty. And what they're showing, unfortunately, is, like you said, walking around a city and, shooting guards.
Yeah. I mean, I keep thinking back to the original way they described Assassin's Creed and like all the stealth, like social stealth and blending in, which sounds like super ambitious. And how Assassin's Creed 1 turned out, it was kind of like, I guess they sort of pulled it off. Kind of cool.
You can't ride your horse at full speed in front of a guard.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering how janky this is going to be compared to everything they've showed off. I hope it's good. I'm interested in trolling some other people online.
Well, you got to get it on the PS4 if you want to troll me.
Oh, yeah. Keep that in mind.
Cool. All right. Well, we just spent an hour talking about games. That's awesome.
Well, video game hangover.
Cool. So we teased something we didn't talk about. We'll get back to it, I promise. Last call? Before we say goodnight, we've got time for one last thing.
Last call, let's do it.
Yep. My last call, well, I'm going to do two, because we didn't actually talk about Neverending Nightmares, which was going to be the impetus for our discussion this week. This is a really cool seeming game, indie game that is on Kickstarter currently. Matt Gilgenbach is the developer, the assembler of this game. It is a game that is ostensibly a horror game, but it's about personal horrors like OCD and depression. And it looks really, really cool. It looks like an Edward Gorey lithograph. everything's in black and white except for all of the blood, and there seems to be a lot of it. So I'll put a link to it in the show notes. You should watch the video. You should watch some of the developer videos where he talks about what he wants to do in the game and his aspirations for it. And I mention this because the clock is running out. I think once this episode airs, or is available anyways, there will only be a few days left to lend your support to the game, and I think it looks awesome, and it's doing something super unique. And if you think so too, you should definitely give Matt a little bit of your money. Yeah. And then my other last call this week is there's a cool app.
Last calls.
It's a cool
call.
Right, yes. And this time, it's personal. There's a cool app that I've been playing with on Android for the last couple of weeks. I was lucky enough to get in on the beta for it. It is called First for Gamers. It is a gaming forum discussion chat room kind of thing. There's a little bit of social bookmarking going on where you can pull things in from the web and go, this interesting thing was said this week about the Xbox One. What do you guys think? And people can chime in and upvote and stuff like that. It has been assembled by Red Robot Labs and overseen by John Davison, who is a really fascinating gamer voice that I think we all kind of respect immensely. And it's now available for everyone on Android. So no matter where you are, if you have an Android phone, you can download this thing from the Google Play Store. iOS version, they say, is coming soon.
Good. I'm going to put that on my Google iPhone.
It's still a little wonky. It doesn't always work the way you want it to, but they've been really, really good about squashing bugs. And as the community is getting bigger with more and more folks coming into it, it'll be interesting to see where the conversations go and how effectively it's moderated. But John is super present. He always tries to keep the conversations going. And there's been a lot of really cool conversation going on there. So if you have an Android phone, look up First for Gamers, or I'll put a link in the show notes as well.
Excellent.
Yeah. TJ,
Paul,
what's your last call?
you got a last
Or
call?
Paul?
Yeah, I have one real quick. If you don't watch Breaking Bad, watch it. Best show ever. I officially declare it today.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I'm declaring it. Sorry, Deep Space
I'll get
Nine.
to it at some point.
It is now 100% official. I now have a favorite show ever of all time. It's brand new. It's Breaking Bad.
Wow.
Watch it.
Okay. Should we give away some more games on this episode?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Yes.
Okay, just to wrap up this whole backlog thing, I have a special prize for any Steam users out there. I have every game that I played, or at least attempted to play, during this summer's backlog attack. So just to recap, that is Half Minute Hero, Analog A Hate Story, Jet Set Radio, Metro 2033, almost said Metroid 2033, that would be incredible.
It would.
And Dishonored, which I did not get to play. Sadly, we had to leave out Shadows of the Damned, because that is console only. But these fabulous games can be yours if you just
look at the showroom filled with
me.
fabulous prizes.
Yeah. Send me one last tweet or email with that backlog attack hashtag about why you want to play these, and I'll pick somebody.
Nice.
Yeah. All very good. Enjoyed all of them.
We're just
for the most
giving
part.
away the farm tonight.
We are, yeah. There's going to be no farm left.
Cool. All right. So again, DJ, I'm sorry, I may have missed it because I don't know. I'm inconsiderate that way. What do they have to do to get the free game?
Tweet using that backlog attack hashtag. Just say why you want to win these 5 fabulous games.
Excellent.
Because you need more stuff to play at this point.
Are you doing all 5 to one person?
One person takes all 5.
Wow.
Whoa.
Cool.
Can
That's
I
awesome.
play?
No, Paul, you don't need any more games.
You're right.
You're good. Cool. All right. Well, hey, if you have any questions or comments about anything we talked about on this show, what the hell did we talk about? Video games.
I love that that's like blowing your mind that we
is.
talked about video games.
Well, we always have a little sort of nugget of a thing, this sort of lofty, like, oh, I feel this way about video games. And we didn't do that this week. We just talked about the games we've been playing. And I think that's kind of fun. I like that.
Who'd have thunk it, Randy?
I know. Crazy. Thank you guys for making me interested in video games.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything
Happy
we
to
can
help.
do.
Yep. We are VG Hangover on Twitter. We're also VG Hangover on Facebook. Follow us, like us, do those things. Or you can head to our blog at vghangover.com and let us know what's on your mind. You should review us on iTunes. We
Yes,
appreciate
please
it.
do that.
Yep.
Give
and
us
someday
5 stars.
DJ will read those reviews again.
Yes.
Yep. All right. This is Video Game Hangover. I am Randy Dickinson.
I am DJ Ross.
I am Paul Sandu.
Thanks for listening. Good night.
Have a good one.
Night.
You've been listening to Video Game Hangover. Tweet your gaming questions to VG Hangover on Twitter, or you can always interact with us at vghangover.com. We'll feature the best stuff on a future episode. This week's music is by Ricky Hanmong from the soundtrack to the Curve Studios games Stealth Bastard and Stealth Inc. You can listen to the entire soundtrack and download a copy for yourself at curvestudios.bandcamp.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
Okay, we're going to do this live on the air GTA 5 unboxing.
Here we go.
Woo!
Oh, the plastic wrap. There it is.
What's inside? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh my god, there's a disc in here. Fly the Atomic Blimp.
Cool.
Oh my god, an atomic blimp.
That's why I'm here, really.
I think we need to put this unboxing up on